Let us drain our cups to these three strong bastards!
When you look at the dragons, what do you see?
When dragons flew to war, everything burned. I do not wish to rule over a kingdom of ash and bone.
Aegon Targaryen sits the Iron Throne.
The crown cannot stand strong if the house of the dragon remains divided.
Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne.
The princess has a dragon, you dumb cunt.
Have your tongue for that.
He can keep his tongue. Dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did.
Dracarys!
Welcome back. My name is Kit.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, streaming House of the Dragon. This time it's episode 6, and Andy's not here because Andy is fighting the digital apocalypse.
Yeah, he is the final keyboard warrior standing between us and Skynet taking over.
He's the algorithm that guards the realms of men.
Algae rhythm.
Yeah, he works at a nationally renowned hospital. Thousands of computers tanked over the weekend due to some kind of Bill Gates thing. So Andy's got to reboot them all or something. I don't know.
Poor guy. Poor guy. Do not envy him.
Heard it's important, but he's not here. That's what's going on. He will also not be here for the Game of Thrones episode that does still drop on Wednesday, episode 10 of season 1. If you're a huge fan of our Patreon-only Game of Thrones coverage, we will be covering season 2. Fear not, that is coming. We're going to take a brief 2-week hiatus from the Game of Thrones coverage, though, because Steve is moving the studio.
Sorry.
To a bigger place. But our House of the Dragon coverage will be here next Monday. And then it'll be a empty Wednesday for your hearts, but fear not, because you'll have True Romance and Watchmen or V for Vendetta, it looks like, on Patreon, and as well as some crossing stream stuff coming in the next couple of weeks to tide you over while we wait for the next season of Game of Thrones coverage to start. So
yeah, baby.
Just a little business news is on that front. We don't know the title. We tell you every week because the title is not published publicly yet. So it just says episode 6 on our screeners. We did a horrible job guessing last week. Regent was none of our guesses.
I don't know. I think ours was, we had better titles, I think.
No, they should have asked us, like, Kit, Steve, what should we title this?
What you got?
But they didn't, unfortunately. So what do you think this week's title is going to be after watching the episode, Steve?
Sea Smoke.
That's after Regent, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Now I'm looking for the lowest common denominator, the lowest hanging fruit.
I think Adam of Hull.
Wait a minute. Did you say Hull?
I did. Would be a good title.
Adam of Hull.
Let's see. Adam of Hull would be a good one. Or sowing the dragon seeds.
Maybe the seeds. The seed is strong.
Sowing the dragon seeds is a good one, I think.
Yeah.
You like my hat? It says Targaryen Bastards.
I love that hat.
HBO sent it to me.
That's such a good marketing idea, is just creating hats to say Targaryen Bastard, specifically with this season where so much of it is catered around, hey, we need to find people who can fly dragons. Some of them might be Targaryen bastards.
And I'm a bastard. I'm a literal bastard. My parents weren't married.
Same.
Really?
Yeah.
We're bastards?
We're bastard boys.
We should rename the podcast.
Bastard things?
Yeah, sure. I was thinking of a complete rename, but we could just shove bastard in there.
Sure, why not?
If you've never listened to the show before, welcome. Episode 6 is a great time to hop in. We're longtime fans of Game of Thrones, the show, but also A Song of Ice and Fire, the series. We've read Fire and Blood multiple times, so we're going to be comparing it to the books and stuff throughout. We'll do a complete recap after our overall thoughts, followed by our Valyrian Steels, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. And then we'll dive into some dragon eggs, some book lore, some further edification on the world and what's going on. And then our Mummer's Dragon Award will be handed out, our favorite performance of the episode. We'll cap it all off with a section we call Westerospection, where we can talk about book spoilers for those who have read the book or don't care, savages. That'll be at the very end. So we'll give you plenty of warning for you to roll out before we spoil anything for you. Don't worry about that. But there's things to talk about, things that are going on that are interesting.
Yeah, there are some plot threads brewing. Absolutely.
So, Steve,
That's
I'm
me.
dying to know, what did you think of episode 6, Adam of Hull?
I loved Hull. No, I thought this was another great continuation episode. I really like these longer episodes where you get a little bit more character development. You also get some shots that are like lingering on people that really sell the emotion. There's a shot in particular of Alicent towards the middle of the episode.
Oh, the push in the hallway?
Yeah, I feel like that's a shot that I think like a show that's like, all right, we got to keep things moving. We got to keep things moving. They would cut that shot, but I loved it because it was a beautifully composed shot, but also it really kind of like puts you in her headspace as a character. And this is one of those episodes that I just didn't want it to end, honestly. Like there was so much happening and so many, I'm really intrigued. Like let's see if these dragon seeds work out. I want to see if who's going to be the next dragon rider. And when the episode ended, I was just kind of like, come on, I want more. I'm addicted to Hot D. I want to ride Hot D as much as I can.
You became a New York Italian?
Hey, come on.
Come on.
Gabagool. Yeah, this was a great episode. A great show. Just Hot D's continues to be an amazing show. I
agree with you. I mean, it's I watch every episode twice before we record, and then a third time when I get home with my wife before I make my recaps for TikTok and Instagram. And I was not as hot on this episode the first time. Like when I arrived at the studio today, I was like, there's some great moments, but overall, I don't know how much we can get into the meat of what's going on yet. It's another transitional. And yet on the second watch, I was like, that's fucking phenomenal. I love what they're doing, how they're laying the seeds for what's going to happen. Not changing even so much, but like further, edifying like some motivations for things that I know will happen are interesting, especially what's going on with Sea Smoke. Yeah. And I'm just actually so much more pleased than I was before on a second watch.
That's happened to you a couple times this season.
It has. Yeah. Episode 5 and this, I think.
Much like the Smallfolk in King's Landing, you also are clamoring for more meat.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I will say, watching this, there is a man that I hate more than I've ever hated any man in either House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
You've got Joffrey. Yeah. You've got Gregor, Clegane,
Ramsay Bolton,
Theon. Oh, there's been so many people to be angry at. And yet that bald Kingsguard, that cock-blocked Rhaenyra,
the guy that looks like Brett X in Discord. Every time I see him, like, Brett X, what are you doing, dude?
Has ignited.
I'm happy for you being in Kingsguard. Where'd it go?
Has ignited a fury in me, the likes of which I have never felt. Leave those women alone.
Sir Lawrence Marbrand is that character's name, in case you're wondering at home.
Sea Smoke has been spotted over Spicetown.
He tends to do that.
You cock block. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Thank you, sir. Would you also like to try to ride him?
Cool. I think it'll go well. Yeah, we'll get there. But phenomenal stuff transpiring in this episode. Let's get right into it. The Lannister army, led by Jason Lannister, twin brother of Tywin Lannister, is marching toward Harrenhal, but stopping at the Golden Tooth, which is the seat of House Lefford in the Westerlands. That's what we're seeing at the opening of this episode. And Jason Lannister says, we will march when Aemond brings Vhagar. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to party at your house. And you can see that guy's like, Yeah,
these Leffords are like, God damn it, I hate Lannisters.
They're going to eat all the pizza rolls.
Did they bring an actual lion? Why would they do that?
Don't drink the Dos Equis. Just the Miller Lite.
Yeah.
Fuck.
God damn it.
I know he's going to go for the Dos Equis.
What do we feed that lion?
It's an actual thing that happened to me, so I think about that a lot whenever somebody's at someone else's house that's unwanted. Because when I was like out on the lam, I was staying at my buddy's and he was like, go grab a beer, man. And I got into the fridge and he shouted from 2 rooms away as I was touching the bottle, not the Dos Equis. And I like unhanded it and looked up and there's like Rolling Rock or something. And I was like, okay, all right. But I'll never forget that. Not the Dos Equis, you piece of shit.
You were the Lannister in that situation.
That's right. And there's actual lions there too. I like the idea that these Lannisters are so douchey they just roll with lions. Like, do you think they're going to unleash those in battle, or they just bring them?
I think they just bring them. I don't know what good they would be. They're not dire wolves or anything. Like, I don't know if
I mean, they would wreak havoc as long as you just ran away.
Yeah, I guess. Like, and they just like run away.
Aren't lions like kind of lazy though?
Yeah,
like they hunt, but they otherwise just chill.
Yeah.
So I think they would just lay down. I don't know. They're not battle creatures.
Especially the male lions are also even worse.
Specifically,
yeah.
You need a what's the word for
a lioness?
Yeah,
a lioness.
You would need a lioness. That's right. Like Cersei.
Yeah.
But Aemond gets word that he's basically being summoned. And he is
Jason Lannister.
None too pleased about this. He's very upset. I'm the Prince Regent, not a dog to bring to heel. I'll fly over there when I'm good and goddamn ready. You know what he's going to do? He's going to fucking march or else. How about that?
How about that?
And Tyland's like, well, you know, there are dragons afoot.
Well, I'm sorry. My cooler brother is kind of a douche.
He's super douche.
I was always good with money and he was good with spending it.
And Aemond says, you know what? In fact, Tyland, I've got a job for you. I need you to sail to Essos and treat with the Triarchy. And if you remember, this is the alliance of Eastern cities that hounded Daemon and the gang, specifically Corlys Velaryon, on the Stepstones. The cities of Myr, Lys, and Tyrosh. They're flaky, not to be trusted, and not one to make an alliance with, but he's saying, hey, we need ships to break this blockade. So why don't you go treat with them, see if we can get the Triarchy to help with their boats.
Yeah.
I'm on a boat.
But everyone on the council's like, you can't trust those guys. We fought wars with them. What the hell? What are you thinking?
I've seen a lot of people in the comments of my videos, and I wonder what your thoughts are on this, Steve, wondering why all this strife and trouble with this blockade? Why don't they just use dragons to break the blockade? Take Vhagar out there and burn the boats. Has this ever occurred to you, Steve?
Oh, I always just assumed it was the same reason why they haven't really unleashed the dragons in total to begin with. And that's just because they're worried that something will happen. They don't want to risk the dragon that much.
That's 100% what it is.
Yeah. They don't want to risk it needlessly.
The gullet where the blockade is very close to Dragonstone. And pretty far away from King's Landing. So if they used Vhagar to go over there, Rhaenyra could unleash her dragons, and they might not win, but it's not worth the risk.
Right. Mutually assured destruction, one of those things. And also like
King's Landing would be undefended.
Yes.
For the same reason that, like the phrase pointed out, dragon can't be three places at once. So they can't fight Daemon at Harrenhal with the dragon, defend King's Landing with the dragon, and break the blockade at the same time. And they only have the one dragon. So that's why.
And from, Aemond's point of view and, the higher born people, the blockade is more of a nuisance than a real issue. It's the small folk that are suffering.
Yeah. They're not losing any food.
Yeah. They're not really losing much sleep over
this. What's this blockade even doing?
It's lame.
Nothing.
Oh, like get up every morning and I just hear blockade, blockade, blockade. Get over it.
Oh my goodness.
Just go to another store to buy your shit. Okay.
Let them eat cake.
Right.
They're all panicking. They bought all the toilet paper. It's crazy. Yeah. Chill out, guys.
Maybe if you're better at saving your resources and not going through all your food like a bunch of little piggies.
Avocado toast, just saying.
Yep. Sad.
And Ironrod also says that the Red Kraken, who is Dalton Greyjoy, who leads, of course, the Iron Islands, has not answered. He has a lot of boats as well, a lot of ships, and he has not responded to their entreaties. So he suggests maybe Alicent, who is now single, should marry Dalton Greyjoy. That would forge an alliance. And she says, absolutely not.
No.
Not
Greyjoy's. I know we just talked about how the Triarchy can't be trusted, but like, I don't even know if the Greyjoys are any better in that regard.
Well, you don't know.
They're Reavers.
The Freys are currently pretty normal folk.
Sure, but the Greyjoys that's like their way of life though, is like Viking shit. Like we're just going to go to the shore and just pillage a bunch of people. Then but see you later.
What is dead may never die. I know that.
That's true.
It rises stronger from the sea.
Yes. I couldn't remember the rest of that. Yeah.
And then Aemond sends Cole to Harrenhal to fight Daemon, even though he doesn't feel strong enough to do that. Doesn't think he has enough people.
I don't want to
do that. How does it feel to be sent somewhere where you feel like you can't win? Motherfucker. You did that to Eric.
Or was it
Eric?
I don't want to go. I've lost my smile.
I haven't had any Alicent sex in a while. I was going to hang around for a bit. Nope. And then he dismisses them. Oh, I guess we're all agreed then, but tells Alicent to stay back and wait, and then fires her from the small council.
Yeah.
Hey, you've served the crown well. I think you'd feel better getting back to more domestic pursuits. And she cups his face and says, have the indignities of your childhood not yet sufficiently been avenged? And he's basically like, nope.
No.
Still angry.
Nah.
Look at me. Look at me.
He like lifts up his little eye patch, like, look closer.
I look like Cable from X-Men, but not as cool. Like a skinny Cable.
Like a real skinny Cable. Like
a
Wire.
twink Cable.
They call me Wire.
They call me Cable Twink when I'm not looking. I know they do. And I'm not looking half the time. Then we cut to Corlys, who is at this, he claims his seat on the Black Council, pens the hand of the Queen pen on his chest, and is like, this looks fire.
Look at the drip this is.
You
know, I woke up this morning, I put on this fire ass outfit, and I thought,
as I do,
it's missing something. And you know what? I think I found it.
Somebody give me a hand here.
Oh, me?
And then they summon Steffan Darklyn, who's currently Lord of the Queen's Guard. By the way, I noticed this we spent a lot of time sitting around the table on Dragonstone.
Yeah.
Who lights all those candles? I cannot imagine that's a silly job. In fact, like, I guess the council meets at the same time every day, so they know to go in a half hour early and light them all.
Oh, you're spending at least an hour lighting all those candles.
Like, imagine they go in and they're not lit. And then Rhaenyra is like, Gary! Yes, my queen.
How am I going to understand what is what if there's no fire under the table to illuminate the roads and crossings?
Think about it, Gary. If there's no drippy wax candles for ambiance, how are my words to carry any weight?
Right?
Because you can see the table regardless.
This
it's very
table
bright in there.
is useless without the candles. And there is no way that people aren't going to use the table without the candles like in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. If you didn't like the, what am I supposed to do? Use this table as a fuck pad?
Like who am I, Stannis Baratheon? Huh?
That table gets some use later on.
It does get some use.
I get why he didn't like the candles.
Ooh, the painted table.
But yeah, they summon Steffan Darklyn and they tell him about their plan. I love the little bit. Sea Smoke, who I believe misses his bond. Like, they've been really hammering this home. He looks lonely while he flies and shit. The whole bit about what they're doing, I've kind of been sold though. Like, I love it. Like, the idea that Sea Smoke has some psychic bond with the family, right? Because, I mean, Adam is essentially a half brother of the real writer.
Yeah.
I'm stumbling now because I don't want to spoil too much, but it's pretty obvious at this point after this episode, I think. But yeah, I was not sold on what the changes they're making with how things are going with Sea Smoke. But now I think I am. Yeah. But they're going through all the different writer options and how their main issue is that they need more dragon writers. And, you know, Steffan is like, what about Rhaenyra? Rhaenyra has tried. Alas, the dragons have rejected her.
Yes.
We think you got a good shot. Darklyns have Targaryen blood.
Yeah, your grandmother's grandmother was born a Targaryen princess.
Yeah, that's decent. I think it'll be worth
good odds.
Ariana was her name. So they want him to ride Sea Smoke. And he's like, I'll do whatever, my queen. I think that'd be awesome. If it works, that'd be dope.
That'd be sweet.
What an honor.
Yeah. I'll gladly risk this.
He looks like a guy. Steffan Darklyn looks like a middle manager at like a printing press. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy who gets a case of the Mondays, and yet he's got that armor on, and it's funny to me.
He always reminds me, I wish I had the time or the forethought to bring this guy up, but there's an actor who was very prominent in like the late 90s, early 2000s, usually as a henchman of the main villain. And he had kind of similar hair, but he had like a prominent scar on his chin up into his mouth. And every time I see Steffan Darklyn, I think it's that actor, and it isn't. But do you know what actor I'm talking about?
I can't place his name, but I know what you mean.
But you know the face?
Yes. He's just got that face. He's got one of those faces. But anyway, he's like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. Daemon, stuck in Luigi's mansion, finds Viserys on the throne this time. So we get Paddy Considine.
Yay.
I mean, I think they're doing a good job of keeping things interesting, you know? And Daemon's not doing anything at this point of the book either.
No.
So they're doing more in the show than they could.
I do like that they're trying to give him some sort of character arc.
Yeah.
In this episode of like trying to...
It kind of comes to fruition in this episode.
Reconcile with what he's been doing.
So I need help.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay.
And last week, last week I was saying how I was getting a little long in the tooth in regards to the spooky Mormon hell dreams in Harrenhal. And when as soon as the scene started, he's like creeping around. You get the spooky music. My note is Daemon's still in the haunted house. But then Vizzy T shows up. I'm like, all right, you son of a bitch, I'm in. I'm back. You got me back in. You bring Vizzy T back, I'm here.
Well, I talked about last week. I do, and maybe I didn't on the pod. I definitely did in my recap the next day, but maybe my feelings got cemented further. But I do feel like there's some Daemon character assassination going on. Now, the guy is definitely a murderer, definitely not to be trusted, definitely selfish, and
definitely killed his wife,
and all kinds of horrible things, right? But in the book, he's never presented to be completely disloyal to Rhaenyra. It is hinted now there in the show. It's very obvious that there was some grooming and stuff going on and some awful, awful things. But in the book, I feel like how do I say this? Like the times are more are more clear, right? And it does feel like there's some real love between them in the way that it's in. I can't spoil what happens to him in the books just in case it's approximated in the show, but towards what happens, he's pretty steadfast. It seems like in my reading of it. And so this whole bit about like he's just completely like, I'm the king. She can join me if she wants. Like he's completely treasonous in the show. You know, and I hope that it's just part of what he's going through in Harrenhal, and that will kind of fade back to the vision that most of us have of Daemon. Yeah. And, like he would want that, but he would never do that. Because when push comes to shove,
this ride or die rogue.
Yeah. When push comes to shove, he's always been there. I feel like, hey, he put the crown on her head. He picked the crown back up for Viserys. He told Corlys not to talk shit about his brother. Like when push comes to shove, even though he's a fucker, he's always like, hey, that's my family, right? Yep. And so it seems strange. And there's been some whispers in the deep fandom, and by deep I mean like borderline to overtly toxic sections of House of the Dragon fandom that exists.
Subreddit Hot D Green.
Yeah, one of those.
that subreddit is surprisingly like because every now and then Reddit will like suggest like, oh, you go on Hot D, you'll probably like this post, and without realizing it's from Hot D Green, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? That's
people that are just diehard Team Green.
It's just usually it's just people going like, Ryan Condon's a piece of shit. I fucking hate. I want to kill it. It's like, oh my god. Dude.
Yeah, like, and there's some people that believe that Sarah Hess, one of the main like I think producers but also writers of the show, just hates Daemon, and that they're like, can't wait to see what Sarah Hess does to Daemon this time. And so that's their like take on what's happening right now, is that it's somebody who is just completely assassinating the character of Daemon Targaryen.
I don't even think it's like I don't think it's a character assassination. Like it's a character arc, right? We're in one point.
Well, that's more clear in episode 6, I think, than it has been previously. Because it looked like a complete descent into madness before, and he was
sure. I mean, I guess again, I think it goes back to media literacy. Like you're in part 1 of a story of characters. Like see where they
part
go.
2, but go on.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. But you know what I mean. Like there's been a huge uptick recently in TV shows where people like it's episode 2 of a 10 episode season. And people are like they're fucking ruining such and so and so. And it's like no, this is the beginning of an arc.
There's a lot of bad things going on right now.
Pull before they go back. I don't know.
You're also not able to be entertained by or enjoy
things as they happen.
Characters who are not good people.
Yeah.
Or without you also being so you support murder?
No.
I just think that Daemon's a neat character. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's wild. It's the Wild West out there talking about TV shows. But yeah, so it's Viserys on the throne. It is the scene where he made the heir for a day joke and he's being removed as heir.
Did you say it?
The next day. You can't possibly still be angry about this. That's so funny.
That was hilarious, yeah.
Because he's so in now, he's so used to these visions that now he just communicates with them like they're there. And come on, man. But also the heartbreak on his face when it's basically a memory about to be removed as heir and Rhaenyra nominated. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know, it's like the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go kill the bitch. I swear to God, I'll hit her with a rock.
I'm going to put on my crime hoodie.
I will put on the hoodie. No, don't do it. It's so sad, right? And then he can't get out of the room. He wants out of this memory so badly.
Doesn't he like try to get out because Viserys starts crying? Like
Yeah.
like the scene almost continues, like it continues past what the
That's
scene
what he
in
can't
episode
stand,
1 is.
right?
And he sees Viserys crying because he's betrayed by his brother, and that's what he can't stand, because he can't reconcile with the fact that he hurt his brother, who he honestly loves.
Yeah, and he wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
So now he's like, no, let me out, let me out. Yeah, that's a very good pull. When the door finally opens, it's of course Simon Strong.
I just love this from Simon's perspective. You go to open the door and Damon's like, just
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be
flops on
like,
top of you.
and they're scared of him anyway. He's got the dragon. Like, this has got to be uncomfy. Daemon finally loses it, pulls a knife on him, right? Like, are you perhaps the culprit who has been tampering with my peace? And Simon's
Are you
like,
in league with the Clubfoot or Rhaenyra herself?
shh, 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 baby Daemon.
Yeah.
Shh, Daddy's here.
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy? And yeah, he's like telling his minions back there. They're always just eating the snacks. That's all they fucking do.
Yeah.
It's all you can do at Harrenhal.
Can I say, do you think this is bold of me to say that
Be so bold.
quickly, swiftly, maybe swifter than anyone else on this show since Oberyn Martell in Game of Thrones?
Has Simon won the fandom's love?
Has Simon, he's won my heart for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Simon, if anything happens to Simon Strong, I will shoot everyone else.
I know you're not a big on like TikTok and stuff, but there's been like fan edits of Simon and stuff the last few weeks.
Love him so much.
Like, it's like one of those.
I've seen the king consort meme
Yes.
a lot.
It's that where it's like king consort, and then the music will pick up like with all these different angles of Simon. Yeah, they love the guy, and I'm here for it.
I hope he sits the Iron Throne.
He's giving us he's filling the Samwell Tarly sized void in our hearts, which was large.
Yeah.
Daemon goes to leave, and I love how he's such a little petty bitch. He like packs his backpack and stuff and everything. He's like, I'm fucking out of here. This place sucks.
Stop watching me.
Alice is out there waiting. And he always is so intimate and familiar with her, and it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, like it's so. I feel like we missed a scene where she earned his trust.
I don't think so. I think it's more like that's the magical pull that she has. I think it's supposed to be like, because immediately he was so,
Oh, I'll drink this.
trusting of her. I mean, I think they did that on
peas, but I'll drink that.
They juxtaposed that on purpose. That he was like immediately like blah, 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 blah,
Yep.
you know, and so now he's like, something's wrong with me, right? And she's like, you're not a player. You're an NPC, bud. And she's trying to help him, right? And it's all you do is you always run when it gets tough. Do that again, you little bitch. And he's like, I'm king, man. No, perhaps those who strive for it are the least suited to wear it, right?
Such a great line.
It's not a prize to be won, but a burden to bear. Your brother never wanted to be king. It came to him and he did his best.
And
you
Rhaenyra
want
never
it.
wanted it either.
Yeah, you want it, which is why you should not have it. And he asks her for help essentially, and she's like, "You need my help?" And he's like, "Counsel,
Counsel.
not help,
Not help. It's different.
I'm
Very
not a
different.
dotard." And
We were talking off air. How did you think that was?
I thought it was Doddard. You know, when I've been
I thought it was too.
reading fantasy novels since I was 10, I always went Doddard.
Yeah.
So when he said dotard, it took me aback, and I was like, "You can't say that."
Yeah. No. It's the very hard tard that's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
But Lord, you know, he's like, we need help with the Lord Grover. That's what we need. So she calls her owl to her, and he's like, oh, that's a fucking neat trick. She says, in 3 days' time, the winds will shift. Do nothing. That is my counsel.
She herself is a barn owl who has taken human shape.
That's right. Rhaenyra and the Dragon Keepers. Now, the Dragon Keepers, as we talked about last season, I think, are like this monk-like order that are tasked with helping to care for the dragons. So it's a bunch of Dragon Keepers. Rhaenyra, her son Jace, and of course, Steffan Darklyn are in the Dragonstone's version of the Dragon Pit to summon Sea Smoke to try to ride him.
The dragon lobby.
Yeah, that's right. And they taught him a few Valyrian words, it looks like, and he seems to get him. He seems to get him to heal. He's like, oh shit, I did it. Sea Smoke's my bitch.
Yes.
Good boy.
Yeah, he
And then he gets melted.
Yeah, he put the cart up before the horse a little bit there.
He's like, I got it. I nailed it. Why didn't he just run as soon as he like
Instead of doing the little silly like, here I come.
I'm a dragon rider. I'm gonna get so many bitches as a dragon rider.
I'm 15 feet away from the saddle, but I did it.
It did look like he was like, hey, ride me, bro.
Yeah, Sea Smoke, when we were watching this, just because I know the story, when Sea Smoke kind of like, come on, get on my back.
Yeah, you were like, catty
I was like, you catty little bitch, you little rascal. You
got me. It's safe.
I'm Sea Smoke. I'm just a little stinker.
It's going to be fine.
Come on.
He melts Stefan Darklyn and one of the Dragon Keepers. And when that Dragon Keeper like slices his own throat to stop the pain of burning in a fiery grave, it's so gnarly.
It's gnarly. It's metal. I don't know if it's helping him out any further because they do it. And then if you watch in the background, they're still like, on fire for a while.
No, that's Stefan.
No, yeah, because Stefan's on the ground trying to do the stop, drop, and roll. He saw those seminars. The Dragon Riders cuts his throat and then stands around for a while bit longer before
I don't know that you would bleed out faster than the fire would kill you.
Right.
But he's trying to end it, you know?
True. I would have just jumped off the ledge.
That wouldn't help either. You're just in a fiery pain until you hit.
Well, at least you get the cool breeze on the way down.
The oxygen would make the fire hotter. Write in streamingthingspod@gmail.com.
What would you do if you found yourself in a situation where Stefan Darklyn celebrated a little too soon?
If you find
you
yourself
caught some strays
enveloped in dragon flame, what do? Yeah, that doesn't go well. And Rhaenyra and Jace run, basically. And I love this scene because it shows you how dangerous dragons are. And that sounds like a dumb statement. But what I mean is, I think if you think like I think.
How do you think?
Targaryens rule dragons, right? Like they just walk amongst dragons like, what up, dragon? But that's not the case.
What a big D.
Targaryen feels safe with Cyrax. But when Sea Smoke's acting up, even she's like, ah! You know what I mean? Like these are dangerous creatures. It reminds me of
you
like...
mean Rhaenyra feels safe with Cyrax?
What did I say?
You just said Targaryen feels safe with Cyrax.
Did I? Rhaenyra.
Sounded really funny.
Rhaenyra.
Targaryen feels safe with Cyrax.
Pregnant lady fall down. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like Tiger King and like when they have the big cats.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're pretty comfy around it, but they recognize. Sometimes people get their arms chopped off and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the dragon's house. You're in the lobby. You got all of his best friends to come and sing him a song. And even then, it was too dangerous.
Yeah. He's looking for one person in particular, and that is not Stefan Darklyn.
No.
I love that they went for Sea Smoke, too, of all. I guess they were like, he's been lonely.
Yeah, he's restless.
I think maybe Darklyn could have done it with somebody else.
That's true. Maybe. He's also, maybe the thought was Sea Smoke is the smallest there, right? That they're, because Vermithor and Silverwing are huge. So maybe they're like, let's start off small. Let's try to get the smaller one.
I feel like Silverwing would have been nicer. She'd have been like, no.
I don't want to.
You know what I mean?
What if
she just sounds
Silverwing's
nicer.
like the super bitchy one where it's like Silverwing shows up, it's like, ew. I don't want. Get away.
Like she's like the Regina of the Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Silverwing.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
That armor does not look good on you, Stefan. He just hurts his feelings. He's like, oh, that dragon's mean.
It's just mocking him. Have you seen that that meme where a guy's like, whoa, is that a mockingbird? And it cuts to the bird and the bird's like, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
No, that's funny. And we cut to Adam of Hull, who watches as Corlys talks to Alan. And he wants Alan to command one of the ships that's almost completed on the fleet, like be a bosun.
His first mate, right?
His bosun, yeah.
He wants him to be his first mate.
Some shit like that.
Our matey. And
Alan's like, no, nah, you give me too much, Your Grace. Nah, I don't do that, right?
I like that Adam, right?
His brother, yes.
Alan's talking to Sea Smoke.
Alan's the one that's getting offered the first mate.
Okay.
Adam is the one that's always watching.
I'll always get them mixed up. But I like how Alan is wearing like a little headscarf because he's usually a bald man. We were wondering, like, has he been shaving his head or is he just a bald man?
We find out later he's shaving.
We found out later. So when he showed up with that little headscarf, I'm like, I bet he's just a little bit behind on trimming the hair.
That's hence my hats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't be shaving it. And I don't want people to know that I'm a bastard of Valyrian house. That's true. So I'm like, oh, I gotta wear a hat.
It's weird that you wear the hat that says you're a Targaryen bastard.
When I'm really a Valyrian bastard. Everybody, I am a bastard for sure. Then we cut to old Ulf in the end with Diana. Now remember, Diana was sexually assaulted by Aegon in season 1 and sexually assaulted by a rando in this N in season 2, but we know her face. And she's also now an agent of Rhaenyra because she got visited by Alinda at the end of episode 5. You guys with me?
You following?
The episode titled Regent. And apparently her whole deal is to just sow discord amongst the small folk, like stoke the flames of people angry about nothing to eat but like thin broth and fish. And they're banqueting in the castle, right? Like I got the idea that woman was in on the bit that Diana was starting, right? She was.
So so was it last episode that Mysaria sent?
Yes, Alinda.
Alinda. So Alinda was not in this scene, right?
She was not.
But we're to believe that Alinda went to the tavern.
Last time we saw Alinda, we did see Diana answer the door that she knocked on.
So we're to believe that Alinda showed up and was like, hey, girl, here's the plan.
Yes.
Someone's going to come up and be like a real Karen about this tavern. Or the blockade. You're going to allow it. Let those rumors spread.
No. I don't think I think she's like, you're going to start it. I think that's the whole reason she kind of asks her. Like, how's the food? You know, so she kind of starts that. And the other lady's in on it too, and they know he's listening. Now, it's a little silly because it's like, it's just fucking Ulf and like 2 other guys, right?
Yeah.
Doing it this way would take months to get what happens at the end of this episode because it's just one N. But let's pretend that Diana is one of 50 agents and this is happening all over town, which is more likely anyway, right?
Right.
But yeah, they're banqueting in the castle. They're eating malted milk bowls and dainty cakes and lemons. Oh, it's so good.
They got prime rib. Oh, they got lamb chops.
We also didn't talk about it in episode 5, but a lot of people pointed out to me
KFC buckets
that the imagery of Kristen Cole polishing his sword with a fresh lemon was right after the scene where the small folk were choosing between different rotten citrus fruits.
Good point. I didn't put that together.
Yeah, so good pull from the listeners.
Very good.
Good pull from the listeners.
That, guys. And also another pull is that same tavern we saw earlier in the season is bumping. It was like Mardi Gras at that place.
Yeah, now it's empty.
Now it's empty.
Well, that's because
it's like a 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. It was
such a good end that Aemond used to go there for sexy time, and Aegon, and all of his Kingsguard. But they go really far in this goss. It's not even like, oh, we're angry that there's no food. She says, too bad the rightful heir had her seat stolen. And Ulf is like, yeah, that is too bad. I'm a Targaryen. And then we cut to, what's this fucking dude? Celtigar?
Bartimaeus Celtigar.
Yeah, this whiny bitch saying that Sea Smoke left. He's bitching all up and down to Rhaenyra. Like, oh, too bad we didn't do the obvious smart man thing and we did stupid, silly, sensational women things, but whatever, I guess. And she slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Slaps him so hard it hurts his mama. And says, it is my fault, I think, that you have forgotten to fear me.
Oh. Sir, know your place.
And people in the background are like, oh!
One of the guards like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's one of those. She goes back to her room. She grabs a sword because she wants so badly to be like Visenya, to be the warrior queen, to have people stop underestimating her. Fuck Daemon. I don't fucking need Daemon. Mysaria catches her playing with the sword. And she's like, don't be sad. It was worth the risk. It was a good move. It just didn't work out, you know? She's like, no, it was ridiculous that an ancient Valyrian beast would suffer a Darkland to ride it. And Darkland rolled over in his grave like, ouch.
Damn. Okay. You told me.
And she's like, look, we do need to find others. I will look for others, but the Darkland had the best claim. And Mysaria's like, well, hey, some good news. Small folk are pissed. Or the plan seems to be working. We've just laid the kindling. We'll light it tonight. It's not going to like bring down the throne, but it's harder to wage war abroad when you must also keep the peace at home. Also, you look fucking hot with that sword.
Yeah, that sword becomes you, girl.
You look good with that.
Holy shit.
I would like to see you with only the sword.
Oh, my stars.
Anyway, sorry if that was rude. I'm leaving. Hugh's wife is the one in line that doesn't get any food from like the little soup kitchen there, but she doesn't get it, or like tortillas or whatever's being served there. And right at that moment, the knights ride by with sheep for the dragons to eat. Well, it's Vhagar to eat, right? And I guess Dreamfire's there somewhere. We never see Helena riding that, but Dreamfire is there. And they're like, we want meat.
We want some meat.
Give us the meat.
What about them? They're fresh.
Larys reports to Aemond that the small folk are restless. And also, you know, hey, it's not your fault, though. Ruling is a lot. It's a lot of pressure. You need a hand, right? Cole is Aegon's hand. You need to name one. I mean, I'm free, but I'm not saying me, but I'm free. And Aemond, unlike Alicent and Aegon, is not fooled by Larys. You slimy toe, dickless bitch. It's like he's crazy about it too. Larys is like, dang.
Okay, shit.
Yeah, he calls him a toad. And he purposefully kind of implies that Larys is the hand. And then it's like, not you, dork.
Oh, that's so adorable. Did you think I was going to name you?
I need you to send word to Otto Hightower. He's a little overly cautious, but his loyalty has never been questioned. And then at that moment, Orwyle comes in and says, by the way, Aegon woke up.
Great news, everybody.
Yeah, Aemond says, what happy news? Now he's worried that Aegon's going to wake up and snitch, right? So we cut to Aegon. He's in great pain. His bandages are being changed. I think they're pulling off actual skin.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's gnarly. And Aemond comes in and says, I want to see him alone. And he's carrying Blackfire, by the way, the ancestral sword that only the king carries, that Aegon carried previously.
So cool.
We knew he had the dagger, but he's got the whole fucking deal now.
He's just collecting family heirlooms.
I know. And he pushes like the clock-in ball into one of his worst wounds and says, basically tells him the story that he needs to tell. You challenged Maelys and you lost, right? I don't remember.
It was foolish, right?
But he does remember.
But he lets him keep his ball.
He does. It was like a I've got the king thing now kind of symbol.
I don't need silly balls.
I'm like Varys.
I've got my own balls.
I'm a eunuch.
I don't know if you know that. Hello, did someone summon me?
From the future.
It's me, Varys. Most people in the realm don't know, but I don't have balls.
Let's talk about it. This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
You know, Steve, there's something I need to get off my chest.
What's that, fella?
It's been weighing on me. You know that I resigned at the day job recently, right? And I've been a little scared. There's a family to worry about. There's health insurance. There's capitalism.
Sounds like a stressful time.
But we all carry around different stressors, big and small. And it feels better when you bring something to the light. We keep them bottled up. It can start to affect us negatively. And therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. In my case, it's all of the stress, the misery, the fear. But I had to come over here and share that with you, and I felt better. You know, that's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Unloading all that on you and Erica and feeling better myself.
That sounds like my Friday night.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you're not vibing, that's completely fine. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You've made it to July of 2024, and it's time to give thanks to the Streaming Things super patrons for the month of July. That's right, these people are keeping the lights on every single day, along with all the other patrons that we have, but these guys get a special shout out. And let's begin with Albus Stinkpot, Dylan Dunkley, Maddlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Parmesan, Sunshine, Ashley Hazen, Just Liz Calabria, or the Justice Lizard, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Lothpum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Big Butthorn, Conrad, Jer Latanowicz, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elpander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, Stanton Valentino, John Collins, Trisha Bueller, Sun-Loving Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Paula Garcia, Miranda Bren, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Stephen the Fifth, Casey McCain, and of course, Enza. Thank you all so much for supporting Streaming Things, and let's get back to that episode.
We cut to Rhaenyra, who's walking around the Vale with Joffrey.
Oh, Joff, that what a cute little kid.
I want to go home.
I want mummy.
I'm not a bastard. I'm a Targaryen. Sure you are, honey.
I love how Rhaenyra's like, it kind of sucks that I gotta be here babysitting you. No offense, of course, little guy.
Yeah, you're cool.
You're cool, but like, I'd rather not be hanging out with you.
And they see evidence of a large dragon in the Vale.
Holy shit.
Burnt out bones and grass. It's almost like somebody's been stealing the sheep around there or something. I don't know what's going on.
Weird.
Then we cut to a baby dragon. Not a baggie, That's a baby bagel.
Banky.
A baby dragon. I think that's Stormcloud, I guess, and it's who it must be. And some dragon toys. And Rhaena gets word that Prince Reggio of Pentos has agreed to shelter all of the kids and her, but Rhaena does not seem happy about that. She doesn't want to go hide in Pentos. And she's like, you lied to me. There is a large dragon here. And Jane's real catty about it, Lady Jane. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah.
But it has no rider. It's wild.
No rider. It's wild. It's large and formidable.
Yeah. Would be cool. Whoever wrote it would probably be one of the coolest people around.
Just saying, narratively speaking, would probably real dope whoever rides that dragon.
However, nobody is writing it, so...
Shame.
The ship Gay Abandon will be here shortly to take you post-haste to Pentos. Post-haste. Adam and Alan are in their little house talking, and Adam's really upset. I don't know if it's clear. I don't want to say who they are because it's like pretty clear, I think, but I've always known. So I don't know how clear it is, Steve, if it's still a spoiler, like who they are. Is that,
well, I mean,
how obvious is it at this point?
Rhaenys pretty much spelled it out like 2 episodes ago, right?
These are the bastard children of Corlys Velaryon, and they know that. They want to be, and Adam's very ambitious, right? He's like, we should be the heirs to fucking Driftmark, to High Tide. And Alan's always been like, nah, he's never going to do that. Let's just, I don't even want to be on his boat. It's awkward.
He would rather High Tide be claimed by the sea than consider raising up his sons.
That's right. And in the book, it is only hinted at that they are the children of Corlys. It is.
Yeah. Most people are saying it's Laenor's.
They're supposed to be Laenor's bastards, but because he's gay, it's just hinted that it must actually be Corlys. And that's all we get from that in the book. But yeah, so they're bastard children. Adam's really ambitious. That's all you need to get from this scene. Rhaenyra, back on Dragonstone, is pondering things. Jace comforts her as Mysaria did. Hey, it was worth a shot, right? You know. Also, heard you slap the fucking taste out of Lord Bartimus's mouth.
It is the talk of the town.
Why'd you do that? And she's like, everybody looks to me like I'm their mother or their daughter, but not their ruler, and it pisses me off. And he's like, but you're my ruler, and you are my mommy. And I like that.
I don't want to see you any other way.
I love my mommy.
I love her.
But he's like, we do need Daemon. And she's like, fucking Daemon. Daemon.
Quit talking about Daemon. He's tripping balls in Harrenhal, all right?
Everybody knows.
Everyone knows this.
What happened to fucking Alfred?
Simon keeps sending me letters to give me daily updates about him tripping ass.
I guess we're going to see Alfred talking to Daemon in the next episode.
Oh, that's right. He is on his way up to Harrenhal.
Yeah, he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Mysaria shows up to tell her that our gift has been sent. And Jace doesn't know about that. He's like, what? What?
I really wish he would have come up and done like one of those metaphorical phrases like, my lady, I just want to let you know that the eagle has landed.
The dragon has dropped the egg.
The sheep have been stolen.
The royal heir has lost its head. Ooh, too soon?
The boats of food have landed on the beach for the people of King's Landing to eat in your name. Oh, sorry, that was a little too much.
I'll workshop this, Your Grace. The gift arrives, and it is in fact food for the Smallfolk with the banner of Rhaenyra's house Targaryen, not the Green Targaryen. And that is their idea. Get everybody loving Rhaenyra, but also there's not quite enough food. They're going to be fighting, and we got drama. We're starting. Alicent is with Aegon at his sick bed. He's passed out again. Orwyle reports that he sleeps 9 hours out of every 10, but he's getting better.
Can you imagine
how good that would be?
God, that'd be great. God, I would love that.
And she says that her letters to Otto have not been answered. And he's like, by the way, House Beesbury is pissed. Remember what?
Sorry, I just imagine someone like, Sir Otto Hightower, you got a letter from Alicent. I do not wish to read it.
I do not wish to. She's trying to tell me of her whorish sins. Stop telling me.
She keeps writing me about them.
She draws pictures of the things Cole does.
Don't make me read it, Your Grace.
And House Beesbury is pissed, Orwyle says. If you recall, Beesbury is the guy that Kristen Cole put one of the clock-in balls through his temple accidentally.
He brained him.
I don't know my own strength.
Oops.
And yeah, she says, I'm sorry to Aegon. And then outside, she sees Cole's leaving, kind of wants to talk to him. But then Gawain's like, what up, sis? And she's like, oh, yes, it was you I was coming to talk to. He hasn't heard from Pops either, but he hasn't written to him. And she starts to kind of reminisce, like, what if he had sent you to court instead of me? And he's like, he had a shitty life. Alicent's always been his favorite. He lost his mother at 8 years old and then didn't see his dad for 20 years, basically. After that, was there by himself.
Yep.
And he's taking it on the chin. He's like, shit happens, you know? Hey, What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I love this bit.
I didn't expect to like Gawain Hightower so much.
I know, I do though.
I like him a lot. I like that character.
He's a little catty.
I love it.
But in a way that's understood. I mean, he's like a little elitist. You can tell he's a wealthy boy, and that obviously I don't identify with that, but everything else about him I do like. And I love this bit where they're trying to introduce a character that should have been there in season 1, but wasn't. And so now she's like, my son, Darren, what's he like?
Well, he's 16.
He's stalwart. He's clever. He's as adept with a lute as he is with a sword. And he's kind.
He's kind.
And she says, kindness is a quality I found lacking in his brothers. And he's like, well, away from court, I guess was a good idea to raise him. And she said, was it the court or their mother that made them sociopathic douchebags? And he's like, oh, I'm sure you did
come on.
best.
Come on. You definitely didn't hit your kids, right? No.
And then he rides out with Kristen Cole and does his best, we assume. Helena is with her little bugs. I think there's her crickets. She's in there playing with her crickies.
Just leave Helena alone. Let that poor girl hang out with her bugs. And
Alicent's like, no, let's go light a candle.
We're going to church.
Yeah. It's Tuesday.
This is every kid who had a religious upbringing that was like, I just want to stay home and play with my pets. No, we're going to Sunday school.
I only went to church twice as a kid, and it was only when I spent the night at the wrong kid's house on a Saturday.
Oh, what? They made you go?
Oh, yeah. You wake up like, all right, guys, what's up? Pop-Tarts or something? Oh, we got to go to church. And I'm like, oh,
come on,
dude.
I'm never coming back here. Jesus Christ.
It wasn't bad. And by the way, I think we see Sir Hugh outside the church petting Cheese's dog. Steve, you called that?
I thought it was Cheese's dog. It looked, but when it turned around, it looked a little different. So I don't know. I'm not confirmed.
I like to think he's still chasing the cart to the graveyard. He's sitting by the grave, the unmarked mass grave.
Yeah,
I assume. Just sitting there.
But we know Hugh's a good person because he pet the dog.
Yeah.
And didn't kick the dog.
He didn't know, and he would never. But he sees like somebody's got some num-nums, and he's like, where'd you get those num-nums? And she's, Rhaenyra's ship of food. Long live Rhaenyra. And so he beats the shit out of some dude and takes it, which I don't blame him at all. He's got a sick kid, a hungry wife.
It's desperate times.
It's desperate times, and you got to look out for yours. I totally understand that. No judgment to Hugh there. And then everybody starts fighting over this wonderful bounty that Rhaenyra has left there. Riots start, and the Kingsguard panic and go get the queens from the church and say, queens to the wheelhouse.
We gotta go.
And they slap Alicent in the face with a rotten fish. Queen of fishes.
Queen of fishes.
Because that's all they've been eating. They're sick of fish.
You're gonna be sleeping with the fishes.
That's right. I've watched Sopranos. Long live Queen Rhaenyra. And some guy grabs Alicent. It doesn't look like he's trying to hurt her.
He looks like he's probably just be like, I want some food.
But remember that most of the Kingsguard are dumb as shit. They're like drinking buddies of Aegon. They're not real
knights.
Knights of honor that should hold the position. So they cut the dude's arm off in a panic. And she panics like, sheath your swords. No, don't start the violence, because there's thousands of them and only 8 knights there.
They will kill us. They outnumber us.
And they do. They do kill at least one of the Kingsguard members as they rush the ladies to the wheelhouse. And Alicent...
My heart felt for Alicent, and like, even though like Alicent is like has done some crazy awful things, like Helena's innocent, but yeah, I felt for Alicent because she's like trying to protect her daughter, which I really liked how they blocked how Alicent's putting herself in between the rioters and Helena. Like, I thought that was probably the most I've been like, yeah, Alicent, do the thing, in a while. So
she's trying to save Helena.
Yeah,
she's very concerned for her. But the queens get away, but they're not without being shaken, right? So the plan is working. Masari's plan is working. Larys goes to visit Aegon and stops them from giving him milk of the poppy, I assume. And he's like, hey, you need a sharp mind. You're a legend for surviving the dragon fire, but you're also never going to be 100% physically, right? You got to keep your mind sharp. You'll never be whole. And we get like this pretty epic Larys the Clubfoot backstory about why he is the way he is. He was brought screaming into this world, misshapen. His father thought that he was basically some kind of maligned spell, some curse of the gods.
Someone cursed them.
Yeah. And so that obviously he felt some type of way about that. And people will always either stare at you or look away. They'll pity you to your face or in private. They will always underestimate you. And that's your greatest strength, right? Your brother is ruling and your life is in danger. And I think you know that. And Aegon says, help me. Help me.
Man, what a great performance. Larys Strong. He had that like one single but heavy tear just like eject out of his eye.
Yeah.
When oh man, the way he's kind of just staring off and talking softly, you're just like, oh man, am I feeling bad for you? Why am I feeling bad for you? Oh no.
Because you're human, Steve.
Empathy. It's a hell of a drug.
Daemon is back in Luigi's mansion and he watches Viserys weep over Emma. And I was shocked by this scene on the second watch and how I missed it the first time. And like the profundity, Steve. He's being there for Viserys as he should have been. So this is like a vision of what could have been. And he just comforts his brother. Is
Alice Rivers the ghost of Christmas future?
I think so.
Ghost of Christmas
He's
past?
experiencing a Scrooge situation for sure. I've known that for weeks, but this time...
Does this whole Daemon and Harrenhal situation end with him opening up the doors at one of the whore towers?
And it's Christmas?
Like, you there, boy, what day is it? Oh, it's Christmas Eve, my lord. Oh, go get that goose down in the city. Keep the coin yourself.
They love geese here.
Is Tiny Tim okay?
Hello.
It's me.
I'm Tiny of House Tim.
Tiny Tim died of the bloody fox a couple years ago.
No. He is awoken, as always, from this dream by Simon. I don't know why it's always poor Simon.
Always poor Simon.
My lord, are you narcoleptic, my prince? Lord Grover is dead, he reports. And now Oscar Tully is Lord Paramount because the show were cowards and couldn't name one Kermit. And what of the manner of his passing? Well, Grover was quite ill, of course. Ill. And then I love that if you watch Daemon's face during that exchange, you see Daemon go, oh, yeah. But he's like, the Maesters did what they could. They even called for own renowned healer, Alice Rivers. And she volunteered her services. However, she plied her arts and it was all for naught.
It's too late.
So Alice killed him.
Yeah.
She tried to help Daemon out.
Well, how do you take Daemon's reaction to this? I think there's one of two ways you can take it.
I did not like it the first time. There's so much subtext here. I think that Daemon is weeping in relief at deliverance and also guilt. All of the guilt of his past sins having formed this crushing weight on him over these past months. But also, I think he feels a little guilty about Grover.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing it again kind of thing. So I think all of that is happening simultaneously, right?
I agree with you. I think it's a very layered reaction. Because, yeah, like you said, he's happy that, oh, good, I can finally get this Tully army and put the River Lords to bed. But also like, but I fucking did it again. I did it with the Brackens and the Blackwoods. Now I'm doing it with the Tullys. Man, I wish I don't have to do this all the time.
He's pulling a Brittany.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Oops, I did it again. I killed a
Tully.
lord. Got lost in the Game of Thrones.
Ooh, baby, baby.
I want to see that video.
I do too. But it's Matt Smith, like,
of course,
in the
full
Britney
regalia
Spears outfit, yeah.
But like with the wig,
and
then the tight red suit, looking like Laddie. Adam is out in the fields. He's out by the ocean, just doing whatever the fuck he's doing. He sees a fucking dragon. Sea Smoke.
This dragon just being a real fucking menace.
I love the idea that Sea Smoke is so lonely. He's like, ride me.
Please.
Friend.
Please. I can tell you're related to the guy that I liked.
Yeah. Baby Ruth. But Adam runs and he gets cornered by Sea Smoke.
It's a fucking dragon.
And then that's it. That's the end of that scene. We cut to Rhaenyra getting reports from Missaria. And Rhaenyra, she's down in the dumps. I do not think I can win this war. And Missaria's like, oh, you're just tired. You just go take a nap. You're talking crazy. Even my son thinks I'm incapable without Daemon, right? And this is an epic scene. She says that Daemon, I was everything Daemon wanted to, Daemon was everything I wanted to be. Carefree, dangerous, a man, right? And I was everything he wanted. Beloved by my father and heir to the throne. So we were two halves of a whole. And I fear what he may now do. I've got nobody on my side. I don't got shit. I got nothing. And Mysaria's like, you have me. And Rhaenyra's like, well, I do appreciate that.
I mean, that is something.
Yeah.
That is something.
And then all of a sudden she answers the question that she was asked 4 episodes ago. What is that scar? And Mysaria says, it was my father who raped me, got me with child when I was a kid, and then had me
left for dead,
aborted.
Yeah.
And then left me for dead, and I survived. And the world sucks. It's cruel. I've trusted no one. Very few people I think are steadfast, but you are steadfast. And then Rhaenyra in her empathy hugs her, and then she smell nice.
Feel nice.
She did that move where she like Mysaria like put her nose in her neck, and you get that little tickle, and it sends a shiver down your spine, and
tell me more,
all the way to your loins.
Go
and you go,
on.
uh-oh.
More about these loins.
Uh-oh. And then they start to linger, but they try to fight it, that we shouldn't do this, but I want it. It's so warm. What is that perfume? Oh. And the kiss.
They kiss.
And then that motherfucker comes in and interrupts them.
Brett X kicks down the door.
Brett X is one of our patrons for our casual listeners.
Sir Lawrence Marbrand.
Lawrence Marbrand, you son of a bitch. You're right up there with Ramsay Bolton in my eyes.
I just love that delivery when he breaks in. It's like, Seasmoke was spotted over Spice Town. It's like,
he does that.
Okay, he does that.
We've all been there. But no, Seasmoke has a writer, it would appear. And Mysaria's like, the Greens? But no, maybe. Could be no one else, right? And so they're like, should we summon the council? And Rhaenyra's like, summon my fucking dragon, cockblocker.
Yeah.
And she runs down to the pits, hops on Cyrax, and flies off to go see what is going on.
What is what?
I love that. She's like, I'm going to kill whoever's riding that motherfucker. I'm over this.
I mean, in her mind, it could be just a green rider. To Marzari's point, it could be. But Seasmoke was Laenor's dragon, and you have to feel that she has a little bit of a protective streak about that specific
Who's riding
dragon.
Seasmoke?
Who's riding Seasmoke?
Who's riding Stefan's dragon? He's healing nicely.
He's fine.
I think he's going to snap right back.
Yeah. Put an apple in his mouth. You got dinner.
Oh. They sent him on a boat to King's Landing. Here's some meat. And that's the end of the episode, which brings us to our Valyrian Steels, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. Steve, what is your number 3?
I just want to give a quick honorable mention to the Bartimos bitch slap heard around the castle.
Yeah, okay.
Like just because like as soon as she turned around and smacked that guy in the face, it was just one of those like, yeah, get him.
It is my fault, I think, that you have forgotten to fear me.
Yes, Queen. God, I love her. And
I do that to Andy all the time.
You forget to fear me, Andy.
Yeah. It's my fault, I think.
It's like, go grill me something.
Yeah. Put some seasoning on it.
Season. No, my number 3 is actually a surprising number 3 for me. I'm going with Alicent and Gwaine Hightower having their
Big G
heart to heart.
G Wayne?
Yeah, big Gwaine the Rock Hightower. I just loved hearing a little bit more about his backstory in particular. It made their relationship a lot more layered and sad and tragic. And it's true where it's like, oh, yeah, if Otto's at King's Landing this whole time, he really never sees his kid. And Gwaine had to grow up without a mom, and having to live in his sister's shadow. That kind of sucks. And just the way he's kind of like, yeah, well, you get through it. And then when they talk about Darren, it's kind of eye-rolling because you're like, okay, this is how we're introducing Darren Hightower, one of the more important characters of the story. This is so odd. But the fact that they also turn it into this sort of indictment or this question of Alicent's parenting skills is very like, oh, that's juicy. That's some juicy goss right there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Gwaine hit us with a pretty dope word at that point.
Salubrious.
Salubrious. Like, oh, you don't hear that one very often. So
it's almost as good as lugubrious.
What's lugubrious?
Lugubrious. I believe lugubrious is like dark, sad. It was used in context of like an Edgar Allan Poe kind of.
Oh, it's an Edgar Allan Poe
word. It's an ambiance of like not horror, but what am I trying to say?
Dread.
Yeah.
Droll, dread.
Let me see. Lugubrious.
Here we go. We're
looking or sounding sad and dismal. Aha! I was kind of there.
Okay, yeah.
I was kind of there.
That's me like every other day.
What's salubrious mean?
Let's look it up.
Salubrious.
I'm afraid if I say it, it'll be wrong.
Salubrious, health giving, healthy. Yeah. So not a salubrious environment.
No.
But a lugubrious one. In fact,
for sure. Yeah.
Nice. They're kind of antonyms.
That is kind of cool.
Look at us.
I learned something today, and I hope you did too.
Elmo likes to learn.
Elmo totally wants to go down. Why am I written out of this story? Don't feel bad. It happens to everybody.
Because Kermit's gone
Kermit
too.
totally also written out of the story for some reason.
It's true. My number 3, I think, is the meeting of Aemond and Aegon at his sickbed when he brings him his little clock-in ball.
That's a good one.
It's so tense, and you can see the abject terror on Aegon's face. You know, he's now horrified of his brother, and Aemond is leaning into his sociopathy at this point. You know, he's just full, or maybe psychopathy. I don't know. One of those. People are very particular about those nowadays, but it's one of those. He's off the hinges, right? The chains are over there. He's off of them for sure.
He's being very lugubrious.
It's definitely not a salubrious environment for Aegon.
No,
we know that. Yeah, just a kind of terrifying. Him now that he's got Blackfire, it's kind of crazy they're even letting him carry that. You know, like the dagger was like a small, like, oh, is that the dagger?
Oh,
but now he's carrying the fucking king's sword. You know, and he's just a prince regent. But anyway. Yeah, that's a great scene. Loved it so much. You and Mitchell, you the man. That's my number 3. Steve, your number 2.
My number 2 is the scene between Rhaenyra and Mysaria at the end. I just love, you know, the lead up to the Kith had some great dialogue with her kind of explaining, you know, the relationship between her and Daemon and how she's so entirely sick of hearing about Daemon. And then Mysaria opening up herself and sharing the story behind the scar. Very surprising. I wasn't expecting Mysaria to be that open with Rhaenyra, but it works. And I like the two of them together. It really kind of is leaning into this you know, trend where Rhaenyra can't count on her own war council because it's just dudes being like, oh, quit being a lady. So I loved it. I thought the performances were great, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there.
When she hit Stefan, he was like, you can't do that. You can't talk to me that way. I was like, I love the way she's talking to you.
Oh, you mean Bartimaeus?
Yeah. Sorry. She didn't hit Stefan.
She hit him with some fire.
When she hit Bartimaeus, yeah. I love the way she's talking to you. She's a winner. My number 2 is the melting of Stefan Darklyn, I think. I think they did the character design of all of the dragons, but in this case, Sea Smoke looked gorgeous. And it's kind of cool if you know the backstory of Sea Smoke, of course, ridden by Laenor, who is in this show alive somewhere. And so that's not the one to choose, I feel like. And it's very specific psychic needs and bonding needs right now.
Yeah.
But that's just what happened in the books is Sea Smoke's the one he tried, right? And the way that he was like tricky about it. But I love the whole lore of the Dragon Keepers. And again, earlier, like I said, the idea that even the Targaryens fear the dragons in a respectful way, right? Like Rhaenyra is comfortable with Cyrax, but the rest of them are fucking scary dragons.
Right.
You know, I just like the way that was depicted. So great scene. It's my number 2.
Your number 2 is my number 1. For everything you just said, it's a very cool scene. It builds the world a little bit more. Just kind of seeing the what do you call it? The tradition of this is how we summon the dragon. We just all kind of chill out. Do you think each dragon has a different song? So like they sing that one and Sea Smoke's like, ooh, that's my jam. Holy shit.
Could be.
And then like there are other dragons out there where they have to go out there.
I sing a little silhouette of a man.
Scaramouche, Scaramouche. There's like another dragon where it's like, like Silverwing's like, oh, here we go. Tell him, Soldier Boy.
Could be. Is one of them respond to whoop, whoop?
That's the sound of the police.
I think so. That would be Stormcloud, maybe.
Yeah. Stormcloud's a cop.
Yeah. I think Dreamfire would definitely be like some Chapel Roan or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My number one is your number two as well. The scene between Rhaenyra and Mysaria. We get this horrifying backstory and further edification of who Mysaria is and why she is the way that she is. But also, I just love Emma Darcy so goddamn much. And that instant empathy that floods her face, like everything that she's got so much to worry about right now. Matters of state, her own life, the livelihood of all of her family and all of her subjects. The weight of the world is on her shoulders. But in that moment, she doesn't give it a second thought to turn all of her attention to comforting this abused and hurting soul, right? Which is what's so wonderful about Rhaenyra. And all jokes aside, I do think their connection was needed. You know, neither one of these women, Rhaenyra has born 5 children into this world, and she had a brief sexual attraction and fling with Kristen Cole. That was quickly ruined, right? And she was made to feel intensely guilty for that. She had brief pleasure, maybe a couple of years of happiness with her agreement with Laenor and Harwin Strong, and that came to a horrifying conclusion, right? And she was made to feel guilty for that, hounded her out of the city. Your bastard children, you know, you've ruined the realm. You're a whore, right? And now it's been, I don't know, a decade or whatever, and obviously she had a couple kids with Daemon, but that's not going well. Daemon, not famously a generous lover, who's also been with Mysaria. And so the context of that kiss was one of just like, this is the first thing we've actually chosen. You know, we weren't abused or groomed or pushed into this. We're not going to be made to feel guilty for it. And then that motherfucker came in and made him feel guilty. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I say it that way.
He's the C-3PO to Han and Leia's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be the moment that is talked about all week when this episode debuts tonight. But yeah, that's my number one, man. That's an epic moment. And so now it's time for our dragon eggs. What do we got, Steve? Let's take it home.
Well, we've actually talked about most of the ones I had written down already, like the Red Kraken, Lord Beesbury.
Red Kraken.
The one I do have, I want to say for Westerospection. But then the other thing I wanted to mention was they finally added the Rook's Rest battle into the intro animation of the show at the very, very end. They seem to have combined the shot of Aegon on the throne, and then it would cut to Rhaenyra on the throne, and then do a wide shot of the whole heraldry. It seems they like transition down into just one shot so they can make room for the Rook's Rest battle.
And make room they did.
That they did.
And it was epic. I don't have much that I can talk about that isn't necessary for Westerospection, I think. Yeah. That's what me thinks.
That's the trouble with this week's Easter Dragon Eggs is like, we can talk about them, but I want to put a spoiler warning in front of them.
Yeah, it'll be spoiler adjacent. So now it's time for our Mummer's Dragon, our favorite performance of the episode. Real quick, one quick dragon egg I think is neat. House Darklyn, Stefan Darklyn, right? The Lord Darklyn was beheaded by Kristen Cole.
Yeah,
we saw that.
That's Stefan's dad.
Yeah. The House Darklyn actually ends completely. And do you know who?
I do.
You do know that story.
I do know that story.
Tell it.
Well,
it's your boy.
The Mad King Aerys Targaryen takes them all out. You could probably describe the actual situation better.
Lord Tywin is instrumental in that and being a dick and ending House Darklyn as well. So Tywin Lannister and Aerys II Targaryen, the Mad King, end the line of the Darklyns forever. Right before Game of Thrones begins. Yeah, so that's one dragon egg I forgot to write down. I did want to mention. It's kind of neat. It's like, where are the Darklyns? They gone. But now let's do our Mummer's Dragon, our favorite performance of the episode. Who are you going to go with, Steve? There's a lot of choices.
There are a lot of choices. I'm going to give a shout out to Matthew Needham, who plays Larys Strong.
Great performance.
Just that one scene alone just killed it. I honestly... He's one of the actors that are slowly coming into the forefront as people who I'm transfixed by whenever they're on screen. He's really coming into his own. But I'm going to give my award again to Emma Darcy. They are crushing it this season.
I said it like a bro that was excited for his team. Let's go.
Is Emma yours as well?
They are actually not.
Really? Okay. Who are you picking?
I am going with Sonoya Mizuno.
Okay.
Sonoya Mizuno, who plays Mysaria. I think I've shouted Sonoya out multiple times.
Yeah.
And I think it's finally my time to to give the award to them.
It is time.
It is time. I just think it's so interesting what they're doing with this character that we all mocked in season 1 because the accent was just all over the place. And, you know, we know that they're from Essos, but we've dealt with characters from Essos before, you know, Varys and many others that just, it's like, what is going on here?
I feel like they're going for wherever Shay was from. They're going with that.
Maybe.
Because even when in Game of Thrones, when
I think Shay's from Turkey.
well, that's the joke in Game of Thrones. There's a point where Tyrion's like, what's that accent from? Or what is that accent? She just goes, foreign.
Yeah.
Like doesn't answer him.
He's like, whatever. But I think that they weren't ever doing a bad job in season 1, but it was a little distracting. And now that what she's doing is so subtextual and below the surface, it's so subtle. She's always like, she's got this deep, now we see actual, you know, lust, non-platonic love, but she's got this deep respect and admiration of Rhaenyra and fierce loyalty, but also she's the Bernie Sanders of Westeros right now. Like she's a woman of the people.
Feel the burn.
And I think there's so much going on there that she kind of keeps balanced on the edge of a knife so well. And I can't wait to see if and when it kind of explodes.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so that's why I'm giving it to, but yeah, I mean,
great choices.
Giving the award to Emma Darcy is like a given on any episode.
Yeah.
They are so crazy good at this.
Crazy good.
Crazy good. Anything else you want to say about the performance of Emma Darcy?
I mean, no, they're incredible. Every scene is very, it's nuanced. Just this frustration without it be boiling into rage. It's a simmering, like, because Rhaenyra as a character has to be composed because she can't lose her shit in front of her
people who already think she's too emotional. And
yeah, because and it goes into that whole like patriarchal thing, like, oh, women are so emotional. A woman could never be president because of their emotions. And so it's this unfair, you know, she's being ruled or graded on a curve that's very unfair. And Emma Darcy, they play that conflict perfectly, where you can feel the rage, you can feel the frustration, but it's never boiling over. And I think that is a very fine line to walk. And Emma always is just so good.
And then
so good.
Miss Arya comes up like, I think you're doing a great job, but we got to think about the people.
You're a Targaryen. Let me just say this. As a Targaryen, your slogan really should be feel the burn. That's because of the blood and the fire. Just saying, just throwing that out there. You can use it for free. It didn't work out for me, but maybe it'll work out for better for you.
Because of the dragons.
Because of the dragons.
Yeah. But the people are hungry.
These 1%ers out there, they're feasting on sheep, and they're giving our food to the dragons. It's no good. No good. Not a fan.
It's no good.
Me, just give me a head of lettuce. I'll be fine. I'll make a soup.
Good soup.
Good soup.
Little fucking Adam Driver there at the end. Now it's time for Westerospection. So if you have not read Fire and Blood, the book on which the show is based in its entirety, please kindly fuck off. We don't want you to be spoiled. We want you to enjoy the show to its maximum, but we got things to talk about.
The night is dark and full of spoilers. Get out of here.
Steve, I ranted last time about nettles and what's going on with nettles. And
what's the deal with nettles?
You pointed out the leaked photo, and I was like, oh, look, that is true. I have actually seen it.
Now, to be fair, to the listener listening to us, I did cut out the leaked photo discussion just in case people didn't want to know about the leaked photo.
Okay, that was wise.
But we can talk about it now. Because I feel like
there is a photo, a set photo, and I don't like set photos or leaks. What's going on with Superman right now is fucking ridiculous on Twitter. Like, God, just wait for the goddamn movie.
Right.
I'm just not that guy, pal. But I did see that because I was arguing with another big fan of the show about what's going to happen with the character of Nettles. And she's like, I think it's confirmed there is a Nettles. And she sent me that photo after I gave her permission. And I was like, that has to be Nettles, because in the photo is only dragon seeds. People like Ulf and Hugh, and then this character that looks like our idea of what Nettles is, who's supposed to be a black woman. And I was like, huh, right? But like, what's going on with Rhaena throughout this season has strongly hinted toward her being superimposed into the character of Nettles in the show, like kind of combining those characters, which is interesting because there's like a hint of romance between them, between Daemon and Nettles
in the
which
book.
Obviously could not exist because that's his daughter.
But maybe it's, again, one of the things where like the history books gets it wrong, and this this affection that he has for this person is just fatherly affection, and people mistake it for creepy.
Especially if she's like like you posited, maybe in disguise.
Yeah.
Maybe like Rhaenyra is not herself. She pretends to be someone else to, I don't know, who knows?
Which, how funny would it be?
But it really, the dragon in the veil has to be sheep stealer. It's like literally like flying around stealing sheep
like,
and shit.
here's dead sheep.
Yeah.
There's a big dragon.
Yeah.
There's a dragon named Sheep Stealer. How funny would it be if the showrunners do kind of lean into this whole, like, they're replacing Nettles with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's taking over the reins of Nettles.
Ooh.
And so she's like, I don't want them to know it's me. So she like does her hair differently and she shows up and Daemon's like, you're new. Who are you? Nettles cool. Cause he just never interacts with Rhaenyra before.
Yeah.
So he has no idea who his own daughter is.
Yeah. Or Alice has him poisoned or something, you know,
something.
I would hate that, by the way. All of that.
All of that. So you are still against the change that Rhaenyra is taking over.
Not necessarily. I think that could be done okay. But I would hate it if Daemon was like, new person. You know?
You look familiar.
You don't look at all like my ex-wife.
Or my own daughter.
Also, the ship, Gay Abandon, that Jane says is waiting to take them to Pentos, is the ship that gets confronted by the Triarchy fleet and Viserys and Aegon. While Viserys gets kidnapped, Aegon flies away on Stormcloud. Well, I think we saw Stormcloud in this episode.
That's going to be hilarious seeing that kid ride that dragon.
Just that toddler right off on that tiny dragon. Like, I guess that's not going to happen. So I don't know. Or maybe it's the next season. Maybe when the Triarchy comes.
There's some time.
Because it's shortly after the Gullet, but maybe they could change the timeline a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But that's the ship, the Gay Abandon. And yeah, Stormcloud is the dragon that's there. It was my other kind of Westerospection thing I didn't want to talk too much about.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Okay. I'm going to take you on a ride. I want you to,
I
want you to take my hand and I want you to go with me on this journey.
Okay.
Because something happened and I was like, that's interesting that they're doing that at this location. Wonder if that means anything. So Alicent and Helena are at the Sept.
Sure.
They're escaping.
Sure.
An old man shows up, grabs her hand, and they cut off his hand halfway through. If you remember, there's a character in the book named the Shepherd who is an old ass man who's missing a hand like that.
You're right.
Who is a religious zealot.
The Shepherd.
And so when that happened, I'm like, did we just see the origin story of the Shepherd?
We did.
Happen in real time?
You're 1,000%
Holy
correct.
shit, that's wild.
You're 1,000% correct.
And
that
because then that dude like uses it, like points at people with his stump and condemns them to death with it.
He does a lot of horrible things to dragons specifically.
He does, yeah.
Wow, that is the Shepherd. Holy shit. I didn't even clock that.
Because they made it a point like they're in front of the Sept, dude loses his arm.
Yeah,
he's an old ass man. If it's not him,
I just
that's
went
like
from 6
a
to
wild.
midnight.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I mean, I did see the table just kind of raise up a couple inches.
Well, wow. Thank you for lying. No one noticed. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good pull.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't even think about that. I thought it was just some sad, silly fucker.
Some local dick.
Wow. The Shepherd is born.
The Shepherd confirmed.
We just saw the origin story to the series villain. Insane.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, you talked about the other two I wanted to talk about, but yeah, that's my Westerospection.
That's huge, man. That's the end of episode 6. Doesn't have a title yet. I'm going with Adam of Hull, and you were going with...
I forget.
Sea Smoke.
Sea Smoke. That's what it was.
Yeah. After Regent, that's a good guess.
Sea Smoke.
We'll see. Titles haven't been phenomenal.
Stefan didn't want that Sea Smoke.
That's true. He did not. That's all the time we have right now. Tune in this Wednesday for the finale of season 1 of Game of Thrones, Patreon only. And then next Monday, of course, for our House of the Dragon coverage. Our coverage of The Boys has ended, but we'll be back in 2025 for Gen V season 2 and 2026 for The Boys season 5. And we got lots of different shows we could potentially cover for the rest of this year. Lots.
Yeah. And even if you're not a patron, go onto our Patreon page and vote on the poll we have current up, which will help us figure out exactly what is the next television franchise we want to cover after House of the Dragon.
Yeah. We could probably easily do 2 of those 4.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. But they're there. It's between Rings of the Power season 2, The Rings of Power season 2, Arcane season 1 and 2, The Penguin, and Dune Prophecy. So there's that. That's all the time we have for right now. My name is Kit.
And I'm Steve.
And we've got to go return some videotapes. This has been Streaming Things. streaming House of the Dragon.
Happy streaming.